The battlefield had gone quiet, but the silence was the wrong kind. The kind that follows devastation, not peace. Shattered metal smoldered across the valley. Alien trees burned with violet flame. A distant thunder rolled, not from storms, but from orbital cannons still cooling after their final barrage. The sky was stained amber with atmospheric dust, and gravity felt heavier, as if the world itself mourned what had happened here. I found her half buried beneath a fallen slab of ferrocrete. At first, I thought she was another wreck, just another shattered suit among hundreds. The armored exoskeleton was scorched black, its once sleek curves warped from kinetic impacts. Hydraulic fluid leaked into the dirt like dark blood. The helmet visor was cracked into a spiderweb pattern. But then I saw movement. A slow lift of fingers. A weak tap against the inside of the armor. Someone was alive in there. I scrambled forward, ignoring the sharp sting of debris slicing my gloves. I cleared rubble from the chest plate and pried open the emergency release latch. It hissed, and the upper torso of the armor separated with a reluctant mechanical groan. Inside was a woman. Human. Barely conscious. Blood trickled from her hairline, matting dark strands against her cheek. One eye was swollen shut. The other focused on me with startling clarity. "Engineer," she rasped. My heart stumbled. Yeah, I'm here." She exhaled shakily. "Took you long enough." Despite everything, she smirked. "I couldn't help it," I smiled back. "Lieutenant Mara Voss. Call sign Hammerfall. One of the frontline titans. The ones who turned entire battlefields with sheer stubborn willpower wrapped in walking tanks. And now her armor was a corpse around her. I stabilized her vitals first. Field med injector to the thigh. Oxygen mask. Then I assessed the damage. The exosuit's right leg was sheared off at the knee. Power core cracked but not detonated, lucky. Servo bundles fried. Internal shock gel had hardened incorrectly, locking joints. And the spinal coupling, that was the worst. A direct hit had fused parts of it into slag. Normally, a suit this damaged would be scrapped. The pilot evacuated. Mission over. But evacuation ships were hours away. Enemy forces still roamed the region. And Mara Voss wasn't the kind of soldier who waited to be rescued. She watched me work, one functioning eye tracking every movement. "Can you fix it?" she asked quietly. I hesitated. "I can make it walk." "That's enough." "No," I said. "If I rush this, you'll die inside it. Then don't rush." Something in her tone left no room for argument. Not arrogance. Not pride. Just certainty. The kind humans had earned across centuries of fighting things much bigger than themselves. So, I began. I hauled my repair kit from my back. Opened the modular printer. I cut away ruined metal, replacing plating with fresh synthalloy. I rewired control conduits, bypassing fried circuits with raw cabling. I refilled shock gel reservoirs manually. I stripped my own multi-tool for spare parts when the kit ran out. Hours passed. The sky darkened. Fires dimmed. The world cooled around us. All the while, she stayed awake. Most wounded pilots faded into medicated sleep. Mara refused. She watched. She spoke. She told stories, partly to stay conscious, partly to keep me from collapsing from exhaustion. "You ever wonder why we call ourselves humans?" she asked at one point. I shrugged. "Because that's what we are." She chuckled, which turned into a cough. The galaxy had a word for us before we named ourselves. In the old records, before first contact, they called us the persistent species. I raised an eyebrow. "Catchy." "Not meant as praise," she said. "They said we never knew when to quit. That when something broke, we didn't replace it. We rebuilt it stronger." I tightened a bolt into place. Sounds about right. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, softer, she said, "You're doing that now. With me." I didn't answer. I just kept working. By the 6th hour, the suit had shape again. Ugly. Scarred. Reinforced in places it had never been reinforced before. A patchwork war machine born from desperation and stubborn engineering. Only one thing remained: reconnecting the spinal interface. The plug that fed neural control from pilot to suit had fused in its socket. I'd have to cut it out and replace it with a manual wiring bridge. Dangerous. Painful. Risky. I explained the procedure. She listened without flinching. "Do it," she said. "There's a chance you'll lose motor feedback," I warned. "Do it anyway." I worked with trembling hands. Cut metal. Cleared slag. Inserted the replacement connector. I saw sparks dance dangerously close to her spine. "Almost done," I whispered. Her voice was barely audible. "You're a good engineer." "Not done yet," I muttered. Then the last connection clicked into place. Silence. Then a low hum as the suit's reactor came alive. Lights pulsed along its frame. The armor breathed again. Her fingers twitched inside the gauntlet. Then her arm lifted. Slowly. Powerfully. She smiled, a raw, fierce thing. "I've got her back," she said. I leaned against a broken rock, exhausted beyond words. "Told you I could make it walk." She looked at me, then really looked, and said something I'll never forget. "You didn't just fix armor, engineer. You reminded a dying soldier she was still worth rebuilding." For a moment, I didn't know what to say. My throat tightened. My chest hurt. I turned away, pretending to check diagnostics. But she saw through it. "Speechless?" she teased. I nodded. "Good," she said. "Means it mattered." The ground trembled in the distance. Incoming patrols. Enemy war engines returning to scour survivors. Mara's expression hardened. The warmth vanished, replaced by the cold focus of a Titan pilot. "Help me stand." I guided her up. The suit whined under strain, but held. She towered above me again, 7 meters of human stubbornness wrapped in scarred steel. I handed her the rifle leaning against a wrecked transport. She accepted it with reverent care. "You should go," she said. "Evac coordinates are 2 clicks north." "What about you?" She glanced toward the approaching horizon, where distant lights marched like crawling stars. "I owe them payback." "That's suicide." She laughed. "We humans are very good at things that look like suicide." I didn't argue. I knew better. Instead, I saluted. Not regulation, just a clenched fist over my heart. She returned it. Then she turned and marched toward the enemy. Each step left a footprint of molten soil. Each motion carried the memory of my hands, my tools, my exhaustion. I watched her silhouette fade into smoke and lightning. The sky erupted moments later. Plasma, railgun streaks, detonations that shook the world. I made my way toward evac. Hours later, aboard the rescue ship, I watched orbital feeds of the battlefield. A lone armored Titan danced among enemy warforms, tearing through machines twice its size, armor flaking away, but never falling. Eventually, the feed cut. No confirmation. No body recovered. Just legends. Weeks later, I sat in a repair bay on a station far from the warfront. A crate arrived addressed to me. Inside was a twisted metal plate, a piece of armor chest plating. My repair. Still bearing scorch marks from the final battle. Attached was a message, handwritten. Engineer. Still walking. Still fighting. Still human. Mara Voss. I held the plate for a long time. Her words left me speechless again. But this time I smiled. Because across the stars, no matter the odds, No matter the damage, no matter the cost, humans rebuild. And we endure. The orbital evac ship drifted above the ruined world like a silent observer. Inside its steel corridors, medics hurried survivors away, officers shouted reports, and engineers collapsed wherever they could find a patch of floor. I didn't sleep. I sat in the observation blister, staring down at the scorched continent. The battle had ended hours ago. The enemy fleet had withdrawn. No one scanners could find Lieutenant Mara Voss. No heat signatures. No movement. Just a cratered landscape and cooling metal. Officially, she was listed as missing in action. Unofficially, every soldier aboard that ship believed the same thing. If any human could survive impossible odds, it was Hammerfall. Days passed. Then weeks. The war front moved on. New battles. New heroes. New losses. I returned to my work, repairing suits for new pilots, replacing armor plates, calibrating reactors. But every time I tightened a bolt or wired a servo, I remembered her voice beside me in the dust. Her laughter. Her stubborn certainty. Then, one quiet station morning, a cargo courier arrived. No sender information. No return code. Just a single sealed container addressed in my name. Inside was a scorched fragment of Titan armor plating, unmistakably from Mara's suit. One of the panels I had printed with my own hands. The metal was warped. Edges melted. But it had survived re-entry burn. Someone had launched it into space deliberately. Attached was a slip of paper. Handwritten. Shaky in places but clear. Engineer. Armor held. Enemy broke. Walking still. Mara Voss. I read it 3 times. My hands trembled. Around me, the repair bay buzzed with noise, motion, life. But for a moment, the universe felt utterly silent. She had lived. Somewhere out there, on some forgotten battlefield, or aboard some battered carrier, she was still fighting. Still walking in armor we had rebuilt together. Still proving that humans did not end simply because the universe decided they should. I mounted the armor fragment above my workstation, not as a trophy, as a reminder that no matter how shattered something becomes, metal, machine, or person, there is always a way to rebuild. Always a reason to try. Always a stubborn human will refusing to surrender. And somewhere beyond the stars, a Titan marched on.